The world of Outlander has seen some fresh new faces in Outlander Blood of My Blood. But who exactly are these people and how do they connect to the original characters? Blood of My Blood is a prequel series set in the fantastical world of Outlander. The series goes back to before Claire and Jamie were even born, and we follow each of their parents as they fall in love in both similar and different ways. We get to see exactly how Claire and Jamie were destined to be together even before they were born. Similarly to the original series, this one takes place in two very distinct time periods. One in 1714 with Jamie's parents meeting, the other being in World War I with Claire's. Now before we get too skeptical, this is Outlander we're talking about, so wacky time shenanigans are destined to happen. But how exactly those unfold will have to be later seen, but there are some hints early on. We get a couple hints. Of course, this also means that the series is set in Scotland during both World War I and 1714. Because, I mean, again, this is Outlander. You gotta set in Scotland. What are we doing? Seeing as the story revolves around two different love stories going on, it would make sense that the most important characters are the four main people, falling in love. Since they're falling in love. The series opens up with Ellen MacKenzie as she's preparing for her father's funeral, which was, gotta be honest, kind of a weird way to start your drama romance series, but yeah, who am I to judge? This does immediately set up the fact that Ellen is very much still single, and the question for who her potential suitor might be is immediately thrown into the audience's faces. She, of course, is the mother of Jamie, though, so as we got to know her in the original series, it is kind of weird to see her back in a younger, kind of more immature self, not sure who she is and what her place in the world might be. Her father's death, though, is the launching point for her half of her love story, as the potential takeover of the family, who will become the patriarch of the family, is immediately thrown into question, with many people assuming, and because of the times, that it would go to one of her brothers. Although, as we know, she's not gonna just take that. Even from the very first episode, we get glimpses of the woman that she would later become. And while her brothers might have physical strength, it is clear that her mind is her most powerful asset, and she will probably, and she will, use that to gain an advantage over her family and basically anybody else that gets in her way. As I said before, Ellen's father's death is the launching off point for this series, so it makes sense that this event would also cause the romantic interest to come back. And that romantic interest comes in the form of Brian Fraser. Hey, great name. And they even spelled it right with the I and not the Y. I's way to go. Brian is tasked with finding the successor to the MacKenzie family. And of course, when he meets Ellen, the fireworks go. I don't know. But they don't have fireworks back then, so maybe it was just like a loud, big fire. Let's say it's that. Brian could be described as the heart to Ellen's brain, as he's a very good man in his heart. He's uninterested in doing any of the games, the schemes, the power plays. He just wants to try and be the best man he could be for as many people as he can. And come on, who does? What a heartthrob, am I right? And I know what you might be thinking, isn't that kind of, the gaming and the scheme, is that kind of Ellen's thing? Well, that, what they say, opposites do in fact attract. And it is very clear with these two that holds very true. We get to see the dichotomy of Jamie in both of his parents as they were younger and, their own people beyond what they were as parents. Is usually we like to elevate, seeing your parents who they are for the first time. It's kind of weird. And we get a kind of a good glimpse at how Jamie became Jamie. Running in parallel to this 16th century drama is one of the most gruesome and bloody times in history. Again, kind of a weird setup for your rom-dram, but again, what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube. And while we got to know a lot more about Jamie's parents in the original series, the same could not be said for Claire's, as most of who they were is kind of a mystery, other than what Claire had said in passing in a few scenes throughout the series. This mystery is quickly solved, however, when we meet Julia Morstan. Because of the war breaking out, she's actually working in a postal censorship office. Try saying that 10 times fast. Postal censorship office. With dreams of making a big change in the world. Her optimism and courage into wanting to make the world a more just and fair place for everybody, and mostly including women and women's rights, is a really big step into who Claire is, and gets that more badass side from her mother. But, of course, we also have her father, too. While working at the post office, Julie becomes in a pen-pal relationship with one frontline soldier named Henry. We quickly learn a lot about Henry, and where his allegiances lie is in his friends and the people he cares about, and less about the country. He wants to make sure that everyone gets home safe, and whether or not the mission gets done is not really his concern. He just wants to make sure his buddies get home safe. This does commonly get him into trouble with his superiors, and his relationship with Julia, even though it is just a pen-pal relationship, does give him a semblance of solace during this incredibly bloody time. This is also where we find out that Henry has a lot more in common with Claire than many might think, as he too possesses the power to time travel. We find this out when Henry uses this to go back in time in order to find Julia during a, let's say, tumultuous time in the story. And we learn that the reason how Claire and Jamie were ever Claire and Jamie was because of the gifts that Claire's father gave down to her. Despite being one of the most horrific moments in human history, this series shows us that love is able to conquer all and can cross battlefields, time, space. We all know that. Again, this is Outlander we're talking about here. Of course, we also get to meet a wide cast of colorful characters throughout the series that we may have known and some we maybe didn't know. In the case of Jamie's family, we get to see his uncles as they were both young men and, again, still trying to mature into the older and more grizzled people that we meet in Outlander. The two brothers of Seamus and Dougal couldn't be more different from each other, because while Dougal has the strengths, Seamus usually prefers to use his wits to get out of a situation. Or into one. It depends. It kind of ebbs and flows. Jamie's uncles are just the first of characters that we get to meet throughout, including Mrs. Fitz, New Gowan, Lord Lovat, and a ton of other characters that we've seen pop up or talked about in the original series. This being a prequel, it presents a unique opportunity to show characters that we may have already met in maybe a different light, or maybe we get to see how they evolved into the person that they were. We get to see a backstory into who exactly these characters are before we get to meet them. It's kind of weird. It's cool. It's fun. We all know prequels. There's never been a bad prequel. Don't talk about Star Wars.
Pain, suffering, death, I feel.
Both of these love stories have a very similar motif running through the core of each of them, in that the world does not want these people to be together. Whether it's through feuding factions in 1700s or a world at war, these times were not meant to bring people together, and yet these characters find each other. The mere fact that these people were able to find each other is a direct mirror of Jamie and Claire's impossible love story that spanned throughout time and space and logic and all the things, all the science stuff that Neil deGrasse Tyson is always talking about. And while there is a little bit more grounding in the series in terms of the love and a little less time travel shenanigans, there is some, because you can't really have Outlander without a little messing up the timeline and whatnot. Yeah, it's a little fun. Since we are talking about time travel, though, many fans are considering the fact that because, characters can do that, could we potentially see a crossover event with the original series? And especially now that the 8th season is being filmed and it's looking like it's going to be the end of Outlander, fans are going to want to see their old friends again. So is that ever a possibility? Well, unfortunately, probably not. The creator of both Outlander and Blood of My Blood has stated many times that he wants to keep the characters separated and not rely on old characters to pop up in order to, get fan enjoyment. We want it like these people for them, not just because of their kids. However, that being said, never say never, because again, this is time travel, and maybe in 5 years, the old cast will want to come say hi for an episode or two. It could be kind of cool to have the kids meet their parents when they were similar ages. I don't know, just something to think about, creator. If you want to give me a writing credit, that's fine, Venmo, PayPal, whatever you want. Going back to how this story all started gives the creators a chance to make Jamie and Claire's love even more poetic than it already was. While we already did know quite a bit about Jamie's upbringing and parents, being able to see Claire's upbringing and her parents and all the time travel shenanigans that the Henry and his family have apparently passed down to Claire is a very interesting thing that many fans have been waiting to see. What are your thoughts on Blood of My Blood? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching ScreenRant, and be sure to check out more of our videos down on our channel on your favorite franchises.